Hello everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and today I want to share with you guys the 5 top sliciest knives out of my collection. There are only 5 of them, so this is going to be a relatively short video. I'll be linking down what I can for all of them, and we're just going to go from, these are actually in order from the cheapest to the most expensive, and then at the end I will pick my favorite used and whatever. But so first we're going to start off. This is the Sandcut knives Glide Strike. You can have this knife for right around 40 bucks. I believe for maybe a little bit more. There is a micarta scaled variation of this, but this is the G10 one. This has seen some modifications and a little bit upgrades. I have the titanium pocket clip. Of course, that's optional. For what this thing is, this is probably one of the sliciest knives in my entire collection, and that is due to the recipe that is making a super slicey blade. I'm talking thin stock, thin tip, very thin behind the edge. Of course, that would mean that it is a little bit more delicate, so you don't want to be doing any type of inappropriate work with this. This is a cutting implement, of course, and this is just going to be slicey stuff, not harder use things. The edge that I have on here, I believe it is a 17-degree edge. This thing is ridiculous. It is absolutely insane. One of the best things about this is how simple and accommodating the handle profile actually is. You also do have a forward choke-up position here that is extremely roomy. So even though I do have large to extra large size hands, my fingers are on the thinner side, so there is plenty of wiggle room. I'm for, like, you could see if I'm choked up, I have a good bit of space right there before it might possibly nick me. But if you have thicker fingers, even still, I think that you would be able to get a really comfy purchase on this and put a whole lot of force behind it. And even still, because of how thin the actual stock is, it doesn't really take much force to push it through thick material. I'm talking double, triple, quadruple walled cardboard. This thing blazes through freaking everything. And of course, that very dainty tip right there, that is insane. I think this is also going to be the thinnest tipped as well. So this thing is freaking awesome. These Sandcut knives Glide Strike, super affordable and one hell of a knife. Next one is going to be one that not too many people are talking about. There are a couple different variations of this, mainly the opening and closing mechanism. This is the Tousser K Mini, a White Mountain Knives exclusive. It has 154 cm blade material, frag titanium scales. It's utilizing the clutch lock with 5 different tension settings for your omega springs, so there's a lot of customability with this thing. Also, you do have a lefty carry right there. You can move the clip up and down for deeper carry if you prefer that. And they don't make a full-size version of this. While there is a full-size button lock and a mini button lock as well, I believe in rich light scales, and there might be other variations that I can't just remember off the top of my head. But this is the one that I have for, visual example, and I've completely fallen head over heels over this. Super slicey, damn near a flat grind, and the blade shape is very utilitarian forward. It's a cleaver, I suppose, sheep's footy kind of blade shape, and of course a very thin, delicate tip, and I would say on the thinner side of most average pocket knife blade stock right there. So there's this guy. I think it is right around 100 bucks if you use any other YouTuber's 10% discount code. I know Wayne Sharpworld has one, Stasa 23 Knife Therapy most likely. Who else? A couple other people, Lefty EDC, he as well has a 10% discount code. If you use that discount code, you can get this knife for right under 100 bucks, which is ridiculous just based off of materials alone, and you're getting Kaiser's great fit and finish. Love it. Next is going to be a US production knife. This is the Spyderco Manx 2 lightweight. This particular variation is a GP Knives exclusive and DLC coated black hardware and all that other stuff. CPM Rex 45 is incredible blade material. It has thrown me through the loop of trying to figure out what is a good edge to actually have on it. It is, I did end up laying it back quite a bit. I also believe it's 17 or maybe even 16 degrees. It's very thin, a little bit on the delicate side. The blade stock thickness is a little bit thicker than on that in comparison to that Tousser K Mini, but because it is absolutely full flat ground and very thin at the tip, This thing as well is, you know, it has that recipe for an incredible slicer, and being right at 3 ounces, this is a lightweight powerhouse slicer, and it's freaking awesome. You can have this knife for, you know, typically under 150 bucks, and being made in the US, it's freaking awesome. If you're not the biggest fan of the FRN scales because it feels a little cheapy, or maybe you just don't like the look, there are plenty of custom makers out there that make aluminum and titanium scales. I believe at the moment, Original Goat has already started production on some aluminum scales for the lightweight variation. For the last couple of years, the only kind of people that were making stuff for this was only for the steel linered full thickness, full weight version of the Manx 2. But finally, someone is showing love to the lightweight variation, which is absolutely awesome. And eventually you'll be able to get all sorts of colors. And if they're making aluminum ones, titanium ones are right around the corner, and you bet your ass I'm gonna get myself a set of those scales from Original Go. Don't care how much they cost, I'm getting them. But you'll see that in the future. So yeah, Manx 2 around you know, well under 150 bucks usually. All different sprint runs for materials and flavors and all that good stuff. Next one here is going to be the Wii Praxis. Now the Praxis is a long-lived model that started in the Civivi line, which used to be the budget tier. It was one of the 3 first ever designs to come out of Civivi when it, you know, first started. It was the Backlash, this, and I think another one like the Duris or something else was a little bit weird. Didn't really catch on. This was the one that has just made its way into so many people's pockets, hard use people and enthusiasts. It's been an incredible gift knife. This particular variation is the higher end version produced by Wii, so really it's still manufactured to the same qualities and standards. It just has higher materials. The original one was, I believe, around a $50 budget knife utilizing steel liners and G10 and micarta, those types of materials. And I think it had like a 9CR 18 MOV blade, or possibly D2. But because of its size at the time that it came out, it was a lot of knife for not a lot of money, and it was absolutely incredible. Super slicey. Eventually, they ended up making a mini as well that has stayed in the Civivi line. I have handled that particular knife, and it is wonderful as well. The execution of it is incredible. It's just a lot more compact, still sharing a lot of the same, you know, overall feel. The only difference is that the budget ones, the full size and the mini, do not have studs, so that's going to be one of the main differences when it comes to deployments. Now the premium one here, as I mentioned before, you do have upgraded materials, titanium for the entire body, including the back spacer, all the hardware, all the good stuff. You have a bent titanium clip, T6 hardware, and then the blade material on this one is S35VN, which I'm starting to be a little bit pickier when it comes to my blade material for premium knives. S35VN with different finishes can be a little rust prone, and I'm surprised because I never really had much of an issue with S35VN in the past, but I started noticing that when I would carry my knives that have S35VN blades and they had a stone wash finish or a finer grain finish, I started noticing that I was getting all these like little like marks, these little like pock marks of rust, little rust spots, right? They're really easy to scrub off lightly with a little cloth or something, and you just use mineral oil, WD-40, whatever you want to put on the blade to keep it from having any more rust come and, you know, actually mess up the surface finish. But this was a Caviso Knives exclusive. They are still available. I have seen them go on sale. I think they went on sale for like maybe 180 bucks over at the end of last year for around Christmas time, but now they're like $212, $215. Even still, this is going to be one of the best, like, simply designed Wii's. Wii Knife Co has been doing a butt ton of crazy stuff. which usually adds another $100 on top of it. This is probably one of the last good like old school Wii knives that they actually made. But a whole lot of value here for sure. You do have the double deployment method, the studs, and the flipper tab. I enjoy them quite a lot. Pretty much a full flat grind. You do have the tiniest little swedge there. It's not flat. It actually does taper a little bit. Very thin stock to begin with. A very delicate, dainty tip. And yeah, this is just, again, a recipe for slicing, just to blaze through really anything. And that with that choke up position, it's awesome. The last one here is going to be kind of all over the place because I have put a butt ton of upgrades on it and has brought it into a very high price tier. But at base, the Spyderco PM2 is a tried and true fan favorite. It has a cult following essentially because of the value that you're getting here. You have sturdy washers instead of bearings. So I mean, some people it's either or. You either prefer it or you don't. With me, I do enjoy this, but it does take a little bit to break in. Everything needs to be a little bit tighter, damn near perfect for it to not have a major lock stick. I learned that the hard way. I ran this knife for months with horrendous lock stick with the compression lock here at the back, but eventually it worked itself in, and had to learn the hard way that fine-tuning really does matter on at least this particular knife. So these guys could be had for around, like a base model one is usually around like 150 bucks. I've seen them for a little bit more. When you start getting into upgrades, as you see here, it could be really, really expensive. As this thing sits, this is over $650 here with the titanium scales, matching clip, and the beautiful material filler right there for the hole right there. But this thing is an awesome slicer. I don't use it all too often because it just has, it's basically all belly, and the tip is a little bit higher than what I prefer for daily use. But even still, there is a lot to love here with this particular variation. And really, with customization, the only limitation is going to be your imagination. So there's that. And your wallet, of course. So my absolute favorite to use out of all five is going to be the Manx, just because it weighs basically nothing. And it's just it's a super slicer. I also love how it looks. I was able to do this this dye job on it, so looks unique to me. These are the kind of colors I like. Wasn't the biggest fan how they do their edge termination down here, but it was really easy to cut in a sharpening notch right there, so that way when I sharpen on my particular system, I can't really hit all the way down there to the ricasso, I believe it's referred to. But it's a quick little fix, and I don't ever get snagged up on anything because majority of my work is really in the first like 2/3 of the actual blade, if not really just a quarter. So I use the tip for most of my day-to-day tasks, and this thing is just, it's going strong. And eventually, as I mentioned before, I'll be getting some titanium scales when Original Goat starts to produce them. I'll do anodization and all types of other stuff to it. But this is going to be my absolute favorite, my top pick out of the 5 that I had here to share with you guys today. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like down below. If you are subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate all your support and your patience, of course. If you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing because I have plenty more videos and content coming you guys this way. And with that being said, have a wonderful rest of your day.